Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, you're probably pretty happy right now. As you're probably very well aware by this point, they never quite slow down, and well, that's showing today as they just announced 12 more games for the month of May, and this does include a highly anticipated day one release as well. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video, and then also some rumors are swirling around right now about a big PlayStation event that might be taking place sometime here soon. There does seem to be some confusion here, so we will talk about that one in a little bit as well. Per usual though, if you do find yourself enjoying the video, go ahead and hit that like button below, as it does help out the channel a ton. And while you're at it, go and hit that bell notification and subscribe button as well. That way you can keep up to date with all of the latest gaming news, as I'm here every single week, Monday through Friday. To get this video started off though, we're going to talk about Final Fantasy 15. Yeah, why exactly are we talking about Final Fantasy 15 in 2022 out of all games? Well, it was just announced that it's officially passed a major milestone, as it's now sold 10 million units worldwide. Now, this is actually very impressive, making it one of the best-selling entries in the franchise, and according to some unofficial sources, it would actually be the second best-selling entry, only behind the original Final Fantasy VII, and we all kind of know just how popular that game is. Now, 15 did launch as a multi-platform game, which certainly helps. Maybe Square Enix should maybe keep that in mind going forward. But what's kind of crazy about all this is that Final Fantasy 15 is also one of the most divisive entries in the franchise. Despite all that, though, it's still gone on to sell more than 10 million units worldwide, and personally, I'm very happy with the results here. Truthfully, I've always really liked Final Fantasy 15, and with all the post-release improvements that it's made, I think it's much better than what some people let on. And I kind of view Final Fantasy like I do some other passionate fan bases out there, such as Zelda as an example. And what I mean by that is that everybody kind of has their own favorite installment. Most of them are good in their own way, and it really just kind of comes down to each individual and your own personal opinions. So even if Final Fantasy 15 has some naysayers, which it definitely does, but even then, it still has a lot of fans, and it actually kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy VIII in that regard. It had a lot of fan split as well, where you either love it or you hate it. There really didn't seem to be much of a middle ground there, and 15 kind of fits into that mold as well. I will say this though, the one thing about this announcement is that it does still leave me just a little bitter that Square Enix canceled some of its DLC years ago. Next up here though, Techland, the studio behind Dying Light, is starting to tease their next game, which sounds pretty interesting on paper so far. It also sounds like quite a big departure from their zombie apocalypse endeavors as well, because they're teasing some type of fantasy RPG. Now, so far we've only seen a concept art, but they did post this over on Twitter. Are you ready to begin a new, thrilling journey with Techland? We are hiring for an unannounced AAA open-world action RPG in a fantasy setting. So what they're doing here is that they're putting all this out in the wild to recruit for this project, which is actually pretty smart. This way, they don't have to push an early trailer or anything like that, and it sounds exciting when you start to look into it just a little bit further, because there's already a lot of talent working on this game. Apparently, the team working on this project includes several former CD Projekt Red staff, including the open world director, narrative director, and the narrative lead as well, all of which have worked on games like The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077. Now, anytime you start to talk about The Witcher, that's gonna perk some ears up, as a lot of people do view that as an all-time great, and that type of talent is working on this game. Now, they do also have some talent that's worked on some other high-profile games, such as Deathloop, Horizon Zero Dawn, and even Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. So just based off the talent here alone, this game has some real potential, and at the very least, it's a game that I think is worth keeping an eye on. I mean, Dying Light 2 was certainly ambitious, being a big open world zombie game, and I think it did have some good ideas. Unfortunately though, it did launch with some bugs, but hopefully they can learn from all that and make a good open world fantasy RPG here. Let's go ahead and talk about Xbox Game Pass though, as they just revealed 12 more games for the month of May. Yeah, you're never really bored if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, as there's just always something to play, and over the next couple of weeks, this does include a day one release that I have seen some fans be very excited about, which we'll get into here in just a moment. But first, let's go and take a look at the full lineup here. This includes Skate coming to cloud, then you have the cloud console and PC releases being Farming Simulator 22, Floppy Knights, Jurassic World Evolution 2, Pac-Man Museum Plus, Umaragi Generation, then on console and PC you have Little Witch in the Woods, Sniper Elite 5, then on PC you have Cricket 22, Hard Space Shipbreaker, Her Story, and then last but not least you have Vampire Survivors. Now there's actually quite a few interesting games in this lineup, but the big one here is Sniper Elite 5. This is a day one release coming May 26th, and I have seen a lot of excitement for this game online. Sniper Elite is a pretty well-received franchise, and it does seem like with each new installment, it just continues to get better and better. And I mean, if you like military games and if you like sniping, then this is one that you might want to check out when it releases on May 26th. Sniper Elite 5 is set in 1944 France, where you partake in a covert operation, so this is a World War II game. But the gameplay looks really solid here, and hopefully the campaign will have a good overall plot as well. Like I said before though, it does seem like with each new Sniper Elite game, they do continue to get better and better, so hopefully they continue that upward trajectory here with Sniper Elite 5, but you know, the fact that this is coming to Game Pass, you don't have to wait for reviews or anything like that. You get to download this on day one, which is the best part about being an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, those day one releases. Now, another game here, though, that I think is a very welcome addition would be Jurassic World Evolution 2, and this one is actually available today. So you can go download this one right now, but this game just released not all that long ago in November of 2021. But if you do like Jurassic Park, dinosaurs, and if you like simulators where you get to build your own amusement parks, then this would be a good one to check out as well. This is a high-stake simulation experience, and again, you can download this one right now. Now, a couple of these other games here might be a little bit smaller, but still interesting nonetheless. I have heard some great things about Vampire Survivors as an example. I've not necessarily played this one myself, but I have heard great things about it, and it does have overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, with 98% recommending it. It's supposed to be a pretty simplistic game, and it plays out like some type of twin-stick shooter, though you really only have to use the left analog stick. It sounds kind of strange on paper and everything, but fans seem to absolutely love this game, so it might be worth a try. I know I'll check it out myself just to kind of see what all the excitement is about, but then another game here that kind of caught my eye was Floppy Knights. Yet another day one release. Again, you have to absolutely love it. But yes, Floppy Knights comes out on May 24th, and it's a combination of a card game with RPG tactics-like gameplay. I don't exactly know how that'll turn out, but I do like the idea, and again, this is the reason you have to love Game Pass. These day one releases, they not only save you money, but truly they help you discover new games as well, and for the month of May, they're definitely giving us a lot of options here with 12 new games, and this is in addition to 7 games that they released earlier this month, including Danganronpa. I still would highly recommend that game. It is absolutely amazing, so go check that one out. Nonetheless, though, let me know in the comments below which game here that you're most looking forward to playing. Would it be Sniper Elite 5 or something else? Let me know in the comments below. Moving on though, let's go and talk about PlayStation, as some rumors are swirling around regarding their big event. Obviously, next month in June, the Summer Game Fest is taking place, and it's already been confirmed that there are still some unannounced events planned. Now, Xbox has already announced their own showcase, which will air on June 12th, but Nintendo and Sony still haven't officially announced their own events, at least yet. I do personally believe that Nintendo will end up announcing their own June Nintendo Direct just based off of their past history. They've been doing digital events in June side by side with E3 for just such a very long time, even though they really didn't have to. So my assumption right now is that they will have an event next month. Now, as for Sony, though, they really are the big mystery here, as they have gone away from E3 entirely in recent years, and they just kind of do their own thing at their own pace. So really, it's kind of hard to predict what they're going to do, but well, about that, some rumors are starting to make their way online. This is coming from the VentureBeat journalist Jeff Grubb, which has a good overall reputation when it comes to leaks, and he apparently has been hearing 2 different things behind the scenes. The first of which, and this is the more exciting of the 2, is that Sony might have their own event in the first week of June. This kind of blew up online immediately as some reports started to go out, but Jeff Grubb later on reclarified that he's also been hearing that nothing might happen until September. So now we're hearing either June or September, and if it really is in the first week of June, then we should get an official announcement rather soon. However, if we don't get an announcement by the first week of June, then it could be a long wait, as the next rumor is pointing towards September. They did do their big event in September of last year as well, so that would kind of fit in, and it still gives them plenty of time to start hyping up God of War Ragnarok if it's releasing this holiday. Really, that's kind of the game that everybody's waiting for. There's still some people out there that's not convinced that God of War Ragnarok will release in 2022. Of course, it was delayed from 2021 to 2022, but with them still not giving an official release date, there are some fans that are a little concerned about that. So that's one of those announcements that fans, they absolutely want to see. They want to get that official confirmation, an exact release date for God of War Ragnarok, and hopefully we'll get that announcement sometime here soon at an upcoming PlayStation event. Whether it will be in June or September though, or maybe somewhere in between, I mean, that really just seems to be up in the air right now. It's still just one big mystery on when that PlayStation event exactly will be. Now, actually, speaking of PlayStation, I do have one more quick update here. I forgot to mention this yesterday, but alongside Sony confirming some of the launch lineup for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium, they also revealed that Ubisoft Plus Classics will be included in PlayStation Plus. This will include 27 games such as For Honor, Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4, Starlink, among others. This list will expand over time, but PlayStation Plus will include these 27 games right out of the gate. These might be older games, but they still are good games if you missed out on them previously. Of course, keep in mind that Ubisoft did include a few newer games as well, such as Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is a great addition to PlayStation Plus. Also, with this news, Ubisoft Plus will now officially be coming to PlayStation as a separate subscription. Previously, it was only available on PC, Amazon Luna, and Stadia, but now it will be heading to both PlayStation and Xbox later this year in 2022. Speaking of PlayStation Plus, though, let's go and take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all, now that Sony has revealed some of the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium launch games list, will you subscribe to one of the two tiers? And 13% of you all said yes, 62% of you said no, while 15% of you said still undecided. So that means 28% of you all could possibly subscribe to one of these services in the future. Of course, 15% of you all are still undecided, so that all just kind of remains to be seen. But that would be a pretty good turnaround for Sony if they see that type of improvement right at launch. Of course, they're going to want to grow that even further over time, but I think a lot of this just kind of comes down to how much commitment will Sony have for PlayStation Plus Extra and PlayStation Plus Premium. They've already confirmed that they're not going to release their first-party games day and date into PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium. We do know that for a fact. And having new releases in a subscription service is very important in not only enticing people to join the service, but also to stay subscribed. So it will be really interesting to see what Sony's strategy is moving forward. They do have some high quality games here, but there's also a chance that you might have already played the games that are included. So for those people, this is a service probably not really meant for them. However, if you're completely new to the PlayStation brand, this is where a service like this is absolutely fantastic. Let's say you just bought a brand new PlayStation 5 and you want to try out some of their first party content. Well, then you can just simply subscribe to one of these two services and you have a large library of first-party content among several third-party games as well. So for completely new customers, I think that this is a great service, but for the long-time customers, that's where it's a little bit more iffy. It kind of depends on your own library of games. Now, something that Sony could do is that they could come out and say, well, we'll release our first-party games into the service 6 months after release, or maybe 12 months after release. And if they were to do something like that, then certain fans out there that are willing to be a little bit more patient to play these games, they could go ahead and subscribe, and they would constantly have something to look forward to because they know that those games will eventually make it to the service. But right now, I mean, even that's a bit of a mystery, so we just kind of need to wait until we see their strategy moving forward. Are they consistently going to release their first-party games to a service like this, and how long will it be before they actually bring them over to PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium? I think that right now is probably the biggest question when it comes to PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.